Imagine a floating skyscraper in the middle of the North Atlantic, packed with enough steel, tech, and manpower to tame Mother Nature herself. Now imagine Mother Nature saying, "Yeah, cute ship, let's see how you handle this." This is the story of the Ocean Ranger, the so-called unsinkable drilling rig that sank faster than your faith in airline Wi-Fi. And today, we're counting down the 10 fatal mistakes that turned the world's biggest oil rig into a $120 million submarine. 10. Overconfidence, the world's largest, most advanced rig. Ocean Ranger was the big kid on the offshore block, 396 feet tall, capable of drilling in 1,500 feet of water, and built to shrug off 100-foot waves. Marketing loved to call it indestructible. Spoiler alert, it was very destructible. Because when you design something to be too tough to fail, people start treating it like it can't fail. And that overconfidence? It was the first crack in the armor. But being cocky is one thing. Being cocky in the middle of a North Atlantic winter storm. Oh, buckle up. 9. The Valentine's Day Storm of '82. February 14th, 1982. While couples on land were exchanging roses, the Ocean Ranger crew was getting pelted with 90-knot winds and 65-foot waves. This wasn't a storm. This was Poseidon swiping left on your entire existence. Conditions were so brutal that even other rigs in the Grand Banks were starting to worry. But Ocean Ranger? Still working. Still drilling. Still thinking it was bulletproof. Until something small, stupid small, started the chain reaction. 8. The loose port light. Somewhere on the rig, a tiny window, a port light, was either cracked open or not sealed properly. That's all it took. A giant wave slammed into the rig, sending seawater cascading inside. And here's the kicker. The water didn't just slosh around. It dripped straight into the ballast control room, home to the switches that literally kept the rig floating upright. Think of it like spilling Coke on your laptop, except your laptop is a billion-dollar oil platform in the middle of a cyclone. 7. Electrical short circuits in the worst place. Salt water and electronics are like cats and bathtubs. They don't mix. The ballast control panel began to spark and fry, taking out the crew's ability to properly manage the rig's stability tanks. And without control of the ballast system, the Ocean Ranger was basically a drunken elephant on roller skates. And when things started tipping, the crew made a fatal assumption. 6. Misinterpreting the list. The rig began leaning to one side, listing in maritime terms. Instead of realizing the ballast tanks were flooded or unstable, the crew thought they could fix it by pumping water into the wrong tanks. Translation: they were trying to balance a seesaw by putting another boulder on the already low side. And this wasn't just bad luck. This was bad training, which brings us to 5. Poor crew training on ballast systems. Many of the crew members had never trained on this exact ballast control setup. Manuals were vague, the simulator was inadequate, and in a high-pressure storm situation, they were winging it. It was like giving someone the cockpit of a 747 and saying, "Don't worry, it's basically like driving a bus." But even without perfect training, help could have been on the way. If only the call had gone out in time. 4. Delay in sending the Mayday. By the time a distress signal was sent, the list was severe and the rig was already beyond saving. Worse, their message was vague. No, we're sinking. Just a kind of, hey, we've got a problem, maybe send someone. That confusion delayed the response. And when rescue finally did come, the ocean reminded everyone who was really in charge. 3. Lifeboats and rescue in extreme seas. Launching lifeboats in 60-foot seas is like trying to park a car in a tornado. Lifeboats smashed against the rig, men were thrown into the freezing Atlantic, and even Coast Guard rescue choppers couldn't save everyone. In the end, not a single person aboard survived. 84 men lost. But here's the really wild part. The Ocean Ranger didn't just sink fast, it sank completely intact. Number 2. A fully intact sinking. Most rigs break apart, collapse, or explode before going under. Ocean Ranger? She slipped beneath the waves in one piece, disappearing into 260 feet of icy water. The post-disaster investigation was left with a fully preserved crime scene and a long list of mistakes. And topping that list, the number 1 failure that sealed the Ocean Ranger's fate. Number 1. Human error above all. At the end of the day, it wasn't the storm, it wasn't the design, it wasn't even bad luck. It was human error in maintenance, training, crisis response, and leadership that turned an engineering marvel into an underwater tomb. Somber strings fade in. The Ocean Ranger disaster changed offshore drilling forever. New safety rules, better training, and more rigorous storm protocols came in its wake. But for 84 men, the lessons came too late. If you found this breakdown gripping, there's a lot more beneath the surface. Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into the next chapter of maritime history. Because, trust me, the ocean's got plenty more secrets.